Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a quick look here at Solana. This is excellent news, folks. We have officially broken the falling wedge pattern. I posted this last night, of course, after I reviewed this video. So if you watched the video last night, congrats. I know a lot of folks got in at this lower level here. We can see the price action moving towards that upper trend line, that descending trend line. Once we break through that, pretty much free and clear to consider a long position. And if you look here at this point, we are definitely at that point. We're over the 20 and the 50-day SMA, so awesome stuff there. We're going to be sure to take a close look at some liquidation levels here. I'll go ahead and refresh this here. And just to quickly note too, congrats to our community members. My goodness, fantastic stuff here. We've been scalping the crap out of Solana. Look at this, 14% in 5 hours here, previously 6% in 1 hour. BNB, Litecoin. BNB Litecoin again. Same thing with our premium group too. We took a nice little swing trade from ICP, 1 hour, 25%, and Chainlink the day before, 32% in 5 hours. So thank you so much for the wonderful feedback. I like to highlight that to start the videos just because people really like to understand kind of what that looks like and what those gains are too, in case they're not up to par on following those. So what I want to talk about here with Solana is a couple of things. So first of all, the daily time frame. Let's work our way down and kind of see where we're at. So we have so far a bullish engulfing candle. This is extremely good news. The daily candle hasn't closed yet, but as I mentioned, a closure above 106 is extremely important. That's what we're really looking for. And what that does, that puts us above yesterday's close, but also puts us in that range of breaking that descending trend line. Now we've already kind of broken that descending trend line, but you got to keep in mind the trading day still has 9 hours left in the day. Okay, so this candlestick hasn't closed yet. We don't want to get a little premature, but on the same accord, it's looking very strong. Okay, now Bitcoin is looking like it's pretty strong as well. It's got somewhat of a double bottom pattern forming. It's a interesting shape right now. So I do think that we have a chance that Bitcoin could retest that 44,000 range to retest that upper level of liquidity. And you can kind of see here, there's tons and tons of liquidity at 44,000 for Bitcoin. So why that's important for us here is just because, if Bitcoin retests that level, Solana should likely continue. It's been moderately paired with it, well, albeit the last 12 hours slightly different, but still very much similar in the overall sense, right? So if that is the case and Bitcoin continues up, then obviously Solana will too. If Bitcoin pulls back, we gotta maybe reevaluate and see where it's at, because it does look like the last couple, like the last 3 or 4 candles on the 4 hour time frame have effectively broken free from Bitcoin. It's doing much better than it. Okay? So it's not like a direct pairing, but it's always important to understand what Bitcoin's doing. Regardless, let's talk about the daily time frame here. RSI and money flow index doing well. Stochastic still swinging down. That was roughly the same thing last night. It's going to do that based on how momentous this uptrend has been for Solana. Same thing with the MACD as well. We're not going to get any really good readings here. I think the key is that we're above all moving averages here. And then if we take a look at the 4 hour time frame, this is probably the most important, where we can kind of see we're above the 20 and the 50. Okay? That's excellent news. So if we can get a close right here at about 108, 106, right in that range, we should be in pretty solid shape. In fact, I think we're traveling into the cloud now. We're very, very close to it on the 1 hour as well. And that would give us ultimate confirmation. That's typically what I like to look for. Okay, but for right now, everything else is looking fantastic. Let's double check, of course, the MACD. Look at that, baby. Almost converged fully. That really just implies that the price is going to likely continue in this direction because the momentum has shifted from bearish to bullish. And again, it took a little while, right? We've been in this bearish downtrend for about almost 4 trading days. So it's nice to see that recovery. But again, an overall 72-hour period here, followed by a nice little uptrend, makes perfect sense. Okay, so again, that's kind of what we're looking at there. Generally speaking, looking pretty fantastic, the 4 hour time frame. Another thing to recognize as well, and I didn't touch on this last night, but with us being under 50 in the RSI and now having broken above that, that's an extremely important place to be. Okay, that, in addition to the money flow index being behind the RSI, is extremely important because that implies that if the money continues to flow into the coin, that we're going to start seeing one of these here where the RSI hits here and then the money flow index increases. It's priming itself for a pretty good situation here. Okay, so I'm trying not to get super excited, but again, this is a pretty awesome scenario here for Solana. We can also see that the stochastic RSI is swinging upwards. So to me, when I see all these things combined, I get pretty happy knowing that there's some positive moves on the horizon, right? And again, waiting for confirmation, I know sometimes it can kind of be frustrating because you're like, oh, I should have taken a position, but I didn't, and I'm so mad at myself. Well, hindsight's 20/20. It's better to wait for confirmation than to just jump into the trade. Okay, so trust me on that. If you missed a good entry, so to speak, that's perfectly fine. We did talk about that $98 to $100 mark being a pretty substantial support. And you can see that right here. Definitely a good support level there. It did hold pretty strong. So let's go ahead and move on to the 1 hour time frame here and just kind of summarize for us, because there's, again, a little bit of liquidity down at the bottom range here, about $97, but again, a lot more up here with the fair value gaps, upwards about 125. Okay, so I do feel like those could be focused here soon. Once more, if we take a look here at Solana here on the liquidation levels, we do have a decent amount of liquidation at the 110 to 112 mark. Okay, just know there's a ridiculous amount of liquidation at the $104 mark, and that's roughly within the last 12 hours. Okay, so again, some pretty substantial numbers there. So I don't think we're completely out of the woods yet, but I do think we're mostly there. Taking a look at the hourly, this would be like the confirming factor for me, and we're pretty much at this point here where we're looking pretty solid. The lagging span is free and clear, conversion lines above the baseline, and we are now above the cloud. But keep in mind, this is tentative. We have to ensure that we stay above the cloud here. So again, generally speaking, the common rule of thumb that I've found to be beneficial is to wait 2 or 3 hours before taking a trade to ensure that the price action stays above the cloud itself. You don't necessarily have to do that because there's a lot of other confirming factors, but that would be like an extra due diligence, an extra security measure. But at this point here, breaking kind of through the cloud tentatively and everything else being present leads me to believe we're going to see the price go sideways and up from here. It's a pretty strong likelihood at this point. So I think it's fantastic. Excellent stuff. So good job, everybody, too. I know we had some community members that were able to get in right there as soon as we broke the descending trend line, and then others who are waiting for confirmation, looking for that 106 to 108 entry. So to me, 106 to 108 seems appropriate. The 106 mark is right there at this upper lead on the cloud. So even if we don't break through the cloud, there's a solid chance we will see the price action consolidate at the 106 mark. So I'm looking for an entry at 106 to 108, which we're pretty much at that level right now. Awesome stuff, though, folks. Congrats again to our community members. Thanks again so much for the awesome feedback. And to everyone else who's watching, you make this a reality. We hit 50,000 subscribers yesterday. That was super, super exciting. So thank you for being part of that. And I look forward to seeing you at 100,000. In the meantime, if you want to, be sure to check this out. Obviously, if you haven't yet already, no KYC, no VPN exchange, Bitunix, phenomenal exchange, link down below. Use my link to register. You will be eligible for these rewards that have to be utilized, or effectively, you need to kind of secure those measures between now and the 31st of December. Anyways, more stuff to come with them. We're going to have some trading competitions, I believe, next month. I'm getting that kind of prepared and ready with our affiliates, and that's looking pretty good. So again, thanks again. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take good care of yourself.